Morning, guys. I'm Miss Andrea Keith, and I teach first grade at South Pontotoc Elementary. Today we're going to be looking at a reading passage, and it's titled The American Bird. What we're going to do is what all good readers do. We're going to predict, clarify, summarize, and visualize. So the very first thing that we do is predict. That means that we have to decide what we think the story may be about, looking at the title and the picture. The title is The American Bird, up there at the top of the board. The American Bird, and this picture right here. So what I want you to do, I want you to get a pencil or a marker or whatever you have next to you, and I want you to write down what you think this story is going to be about. Or tell someone next to you. I'm going to give you a minute to do that. My prediction, based on this picture and the title, The American Bird, is that this story is most likely about this bird right here. And I think this bird may be an eagle. So I think that that's what this story is going to be about. The second thing that we're going to do is clarify. That's when we have words, we underline them because we don't know the meaning. Not because we don't know how to say them, pronounce them. We underline them because we don't know the meaning of the word. So I'm going to give you a minute to look through the story, and I want you to underline any words that you don't know the meaning of. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. I'm going to be looking through the story myself to see if I can predict what words that you might choose. The first word I think that you guys might underline is this word right here. That word is symbol. And we know. Okay, and we're back. Real life here, guys. All right, we've got symbol underlined, right? Now, if you had looked in this next sentence right here, we see that word again, symbol. And it tells you what symbol means. So you could go back and erase what you underlined there because it tells you right here, a symbol is something that stands for something else. We've talked about symbols some this past year while you were here at school. We talked about different ones that we have for America, and we actually talked about the eagle just a little bit. So a symbol is something that stands for something else. Another word that you may have underlined would be this one right down here. And that word is eaglet. And if you had read the word right next to it, baby eaglets hatch from eggs. You got to think about what that might mean. Baby eaglets hatch from eggs. Well, you know it's a baby. And we're talking about a bald eagle, so an eaglet is a baby eagle.
Hey guys, Miss Stone here from South Pontotoc. So I'm going to do step number 3 in what a good reader does, which is summarize. So we're going to read, and then we're going to summarize our paragraphs. The bald eagle is a symbol of the United States. A symbol is something that stands for something else. The bald eagle stands for the country's strength. Here are some things we know about bald eagles. So we're going to stop and we're going to summarize this first paragraph. And when we summarize, we're just going to tell what that paragraph was about. So you're going to make your 10 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're just going to fill it in. And I think we can use this very top sentence as our summary sentence. Because that's what this paragraph is about. It's all about the bald eagle being a symbol of the United States. So we're going to write that. So So you need to be writing this on your paper to show that you have summarized your first paragraph. Make sure you capitalize United and States because that's a proper noun for where we're at. Okay, so y'all finish that up while I continue to read and follow along with me when you finish. You'll be fine. So let's go down here. Bald eagles have wonderful sight. This helps them find food. They have strong claws to eat a fish or snake. Bald eagles are fast. Their powerful wide wings help them fly very quickly. Bald eagles build huge nests from sticks and grass. They build nests high in trees. Baby eaglets hatch from eggs. Both parents bring the babies food. Soon the eaglets can fly and leave the nest. So because each of these was only one sentence, we're just going to summarize each of these. And so again, you're going to draw your 10 lines. And I'm going to draw mine right here. And when we summarize these sentences, I think that these sentences are telling us about the bald eagle and their babies. So we're going to summarize these paragraphs, and what I'm going to say is bald. Make sure you start it with a capital letter. Bald eagles can do many different I'm going to erase that line because my word's long. Things. And that's all I'm going to write, so I'm just going to do away with the other lines. And we're just going to have 7 words, which is fine. So now we have read our passage and summarized. So now we're supposed to read our passages 3 times. So now I want you to read your passage 2 more times before we start answering our questions.
All right, now we're going to answer the questions. So the first thing we're going to do is read it. Number 1, where do bald eagles build nests? And I'm going to circle number 1 red because I'm going to go back in the story and I'm going to find the answer and underline it red. It has to be the same color like you did your number. Where do bald eagles build nests? So I'm going to go back to our story and I'm going to find where they talked about the nest down here on this sentence right here and see if we can find our answer. It's either underground, in caves, or high in trees. Bald eagles build huge nests from sticks and grass. They build nests high in trees. So looking back at our question, where do bald eagles build nests? We can circle C, high in trees, and underline the sentence where we found that. They build nest high in trees. Now we're going to do number 2. So I'm going to get another color, or another marker, different color. I'm going to circle it, number 2, and then we're going to read it. The text describes several characteristics of bald eagles. What are characteristics? Those are things that the eagle has that make it the eagle. It's what it looks like, what it does, stuff like that. What does a bald eagle have that helps it fly very quickly? Wonderful sight, strong, sharp claws, powerful, wide wings. So we're going to go back to our story and find what it has that helps it fly very quickly. So where does it talk about where the eagle's flying? Up here it's talking about sight. It's talking about its claws, so it's not going to be there. Here, I see some things about it flying, so let's go ahead and read that. Bald eagles are fast. Their powerful wide wings help them fly very quickly. That sounds a lot like my question, so I'm going to look at it again. and see if I can find my answer. What does a bald eagle have that helps it fly quickly? Powerful, wide wings. We're going to go back and underline that sentence. Their powerful, wide wings help them fly very quickly. We're going to go to number 3. Get another color, another marker, different color. I'm going to circle the number. We're going to read it. Mother and father bald eagles both take care of their baby eaglets. What part of the text tells us that this is true? Soon the eaglets can fly and leave the nest. Bald eagles build huge nests from sticks and grass, or both parents bring the babies food. So we're going to go back to, we underlined where it talked about baby eaglets when we were doing our clarifying, right? Because we weren't sure what that word was. So we're going to go back to that paragraph and we're going to look at those sentences to see if we can find our answer. So, mother and father bald eagles both take care of their baby eaglets. What part of the text tells us that this is true? Baby eaglets hatch from eggs. Both parents bring the babies food. Soon the eaglets can fly and leave the nest. So right here in this sentence, it tells us that both parents bring the babies food. So we can circle C, both parents bring the babies food, and underline that sentence. All right, number 4. What is the American bird mostly about? Now, we kind of talked about that when we summarized, right? We're looking for the main idea of the story. So usually in our stories, the first sentence is going to tell you what the story is mostly about. So let's look at each one. The A says eaglets. Is this whole story about eaglets? No, it's not. This sentence down here talks about eaglets, but it's the only one that does. So it can't be the whole story. So that's not it. B says American symbols. Is the whole story about American symbols? No. It does talk about American symbols up here at the top, but that's the only part that it talks about that. So C says bald eagles. Is this whole story about bald eagles? Yes, because this talks about bald eagles, this one, this one, this one, and this one. It's all talking about bald eagles. So the story is mostly about bald eagles. All right. Number 5. What do bald eagles have that helps them find food? And you're going to have to write this sentence, but it starts it off for you. And remember, it starts with a capital letter. So we're going to look for what bald eagles have that helps them find food. So let's go back to our story where it talks about them finding food. Now I see something about food right here, but what's that? That's babies. That's the parents bring the babies food. So that can't be anything that we need. What do bald eagles have that helps them find food? Let's go back up to the top, and I see something else about food. So let's read this little sentence here and see if we can find our answer. Bald eagles have wonderful sight. This helps them find food. So what helps them find food? Their wonderful sight. And sight is your eyes, right? So they have really awesome eyes that help them see food from far away. So we're going to underline both of those sentences because this one tells us what we were looking for. What do bald eagles have that help them find food? And then this one tells us what they have. Bald eagles have wonderful sight. So we're going to finish that sentence. Bald eagles have wonderful sight. Remember, at the end of our sentences, we always put punctuation, and this one needs a period. I'll give you a second to do that. On number 6, what did you learn from the American bird? So this is asking what you learned. So everybody's answer may be different. So I want you to take a minute to write a sentence about what you learned from reading this story. Remember that your sentence has to have a capital letter at the beginning, just like this one. A capital letter, has to have punctuation at the end, and it has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then it's not a sentence. So it has to make sense. So take a minute to write your sentence, use capital letters and punctuation, and do your best with spelling. Some of these words over here you can use to help. While you're doing that, I'm going to read number 7. And it says it is a class discussion question. So if we were here all together in class, then we would talk about these. All of these things that it's wanting us to do, we would talk about it. So you're going to use information from the text, from your story, to explain why bald eagle stands for the United States strength. Strength means you're strong, right? Use information from the text to explain why the bald eagle stands for the United States strength. So I want you to talk with your family. You may have to do it tonight when everybody gets home and you're all sitting around eating supper or something like that. But I want you to talk with your family and talk about why the bald eagle stands for our country, the United States, strength. Why does it stand for that? So talk with your family about that. And then on number 8, it says to draw a picture of a bald eagle with food in its claws. So you get to draw a picture of a bald eagle, have food in its claws. And I know that all of you can draw beautiful pictures, and I wish I could see them all.